Pterodactyl here. Today's video is going to be on this here Crapsman self-propelled walk-behind mower. And the problem with this mower is this electric start feature doesn't work. And I'm going to walk you through what I found, why it doesn't work, and what I had to do to fix it. And it's not cheap, it's very expensive. So again, on this here Crapsman, you want this sticker for your mower? We sell it in our online store. Check it out. So, this mower here is actually made by MTD, which means a lot of different things. MTD, made to die, all kinds of other ones. So anyway, this thing, the electric start doesn't work. It's got a battery in here, like a tool battery. Many troubles daily. That was another one I was trying to think of, MTD. So this is like a tool battery, and it's got the little thing on there, and it's fully charged. It's got enough juice in it. But you pull the bail down and you hit this, it does not work. Now, the customer who owns this is an elderly gentleman. I called him, I told him what I found out about it. I told him what it was going to cost, and he said, no, don't fix it. If it starts with the rope, I'll pull it. He called his son, talked to his son. His son said, no, Dad, no, I don't want you pulling on that mower. Get it fixed. I don't care what it costs. Just get it fixed. Called me back and said, fix it. I said, okay. So, under here, under this cover here, there is a component in there that went bad. And you cannot replace that component. You have to buy the whole wiring harness to replace that component. Because I went through and did all my tests and checks and everything, and I could not get this thing to crank over. And I go, it's got to be that component. So again, this is MTD, branded under Crapsman's name. This is not a brakes and scrap 'em engine. This is not a crawler engine. This is a Chinese engine. This thing was made in China, or the components were made in China. It may have been assembled here, but everything in it is China. So I had to go online, had to go to Oscar Wilson, where I get my MTD parts, and I looked online, I looked on the inner screen, I looked at Fleabay, I looked at Scamazon. There is no aftermarket part for this. Now this box, this wiring harness, I looked at it. Nowhere on here does it say where this was made. But enough experience with these mowers, I know that it was probably made in China. $135 for this wiring harness. $135 plus $12.95 shipping for this. This is the part that failed. This is why it will not work. This part failed. Now I know in the comment section, like, yeah, you could probably dissolve that epoxy on there, and you can go in there and find out what's wrong and fix it. Now, who's going to do that? Come on, let's get real here. Nobody's going to dissolve the epoxy and go in there for a $135 part and try to fix this. There's no way of bypassing it or anything else. This here, this component here, this is a circuit breaker. But it doesn't have any kind of reset button on it. So it's the kind of circuit breaker that if it gets hot, it breaks the voltage, and then when it cools down, it makes a connection again and starts working. Because all this, these components, these three here, are buried in that. And I'm going to show you when I take it apart, you know, how we're going to replace this harness. But $135 plus $12.95 shipping. And you know it was made in China. And if you're experienced with any kind of Chinese parts that are online. I'm sure this cost MTD probably less than $10 to have them make this. And they're marking it up 135 bucks. They should be ashamed of themselves. Greed, that's all it is greed. All right, let me put my spectacles on so I can see what I'm doing here. So this is what I'm going to do to prove to you that this is the problem. Here's that plug that goes from the wiring harness here to the engine. This is the engine wiring harness here. This is the one that goes to the engine. So I'm going to plug that in. Make that connection. This is the one that goes to this push button switch up here. So we got to replace that, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. I need my 7/16 socket. Let me find it. Taryl, you should have all your tools lined up before you go doing the video. Taryl's a busy man and got a lot going on constantly. You can wait a second. So we want to pull this down. And this, since I unbolted it, this will pop in half. So a little screwdriver, and we can pop this out here. This just snaps apart. Now be careful, there's a nut here that bolt went through, and this switch is going to fall out. This is just the plunger part of it. The actual switch is in here. So I'm going to unplug that switch, and I'm going to plug this into here. Now, this is just a switch. So I know we got a green with a white tracer and a green. It doesn't matter because it's just a switch. Doesn't matter which terminal you connect it to, because all a switch does is make a connection. It's no different than if I was to take a jumper and go from here to here. When we push this plunger, it makes this a connection here. So this is not anything to be concerned about if you get these crossed. And then this part here, this is where the battery plugs onto. So looking inside here, I don't know if the cameraman can see. I might have to get a little light for him so he could see in there. Can you see in there, Mr. Cameraman? So here's where the battery connects. And if you look, this part here goes towards the back. See that here? With the little notch like we have here? That's towards the back. So this is just temporary so I can show you that this is gonna work. So I can just take this and plug the battery onto that like that. This terminal here is not connected to anything. Alright, so now we're all hooked up. We know the battery has got juice in it. Customer also brought me the charger. So now if I pull the bail down and I push the plunger on here, this is going to crank over. See? Because this component is bad. This thing, this brain box. I'm going to call it a brain box. Because I tested the circuit breaker. Let's get that removed before anybody gets zapped. Because this is 20 volts. I tested the circuit breaker. I tested everything. And I could not get this thing to fire. I jumped this switch with a jumper, pulled the bail down, nothing. Everything pointed to this. And I just can't wait to see the comments from these keyboard cowboys on this one. You should take that apart and try to fix it. You should jump those wires. You should do this. You should blah, 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 blah. Or I could just save a bunch of time and get this mower back to the guy by buying the correct part and putting it in, which is what I'm going to do. So now, if you have one of these mowers, you're going to go, well, how do I do all that? Show me! Show me, Taryl! All right, so we need to remove this. It's pretty simple. Like I said, I had to take this all apart, figure all this out, and I thought I would share it with you grass rats. I believe those nuts are, or those bolts are 10 millimeter or 3/8. And then this, I believe, is 1/2 inch. So let me get a 1/2 inch socket. So I'm going to remove this nut in this washer. And then what do we got here? This is 3/8. Is this 3/8 or 10 millimeter? No, it's 3/8. That's the thing. A lot of times it's like, is that 3/8? No, it's 10 millimeter. Oh, is that 10 millimeter? No, it's 3/8. So this whole thing comes off like this. We're going to have to cut these zip ties so we can get this off of here. Throw them away. Now underneath here is a couple of Phillips head screws down in these holes down here. Because I know if you're going to be doing this, you're going to be, well, how do I get that thing apart? I pushed on them little locking tabs and that stupid thing wouldn't come apart. I ended up breaking it. Then I found out there were 2 Phillips head screws down there. Wish I would have known that. Well, then you need to pay attention. Pay attention to what Taryl's doing. Well, now, where's that little screwdriver right here? Now we can push those tabs back. There's one here, and there's one over here, and this cover will come off. Oh, there's the screws. Those are 2 Phillips head screws I took out. Now this cover comes off, and there it is. Voila! Put that over there. This is the harness. This is the component that's bad. They're ripping us off. MTD, many troubles daily. They're ripping us off. You're dang right they are. Most of the time, people will not pay to have this done because of the cost. I've worked on electric start mowers for years. And just about everybody, when the electric start takes a crap, they all do the same thing. Forget it. Forget it. So remember I was telling you this goes towards the back with this little notch. It fits right in this little compartment right here. Slide that in there. And then this circuit breaker, that just hangs out in this little area right there. And then that little black box clips into there, and then you push that little push doohickey thing in there. Now we can put the cover back on. Get everything lined up. Snap it back in. Your little things will snap in. Put your screws in there, your Phillips head screws to hold this thing together. See, when you've never done something like this before and you get into it and you figure out what's going on, you know, it always takes you longer the first time. But then the next time you know exactly what to do, so then you can do it faster. So I always cut the customer a break when I haven't done something before, when it's something new and I have to experiment with it. It's not like I went to school or called somebody like a lot of these places. I remember when I worked at my brother's shop, we had all these backyarders that were working on mowers all the time. And they would constantly come in our shop and waste our time. Oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? Me and my brother, we weren't calling any shops. We weren't calling anybody in the area and asking them how to fix anything. You know what we did? We figured it out ourselves. And we never had any proper small engine schooling. Me and my brother, we never went to no college or anything, lawnmower college or any of that stuff. We learned on our own, trial and error and figuring stuff out. The only schooling I had was in high school. And I was fortunate enough, I had a very, very good teacher in my shop class. They don't have shop classes anymore. And if they do, the teacher, all he has is a degree. So what does the school do? Well, you got a teaching degree. You can teach shop. You can teach anything. You got that degree. That covers everything. Yeah, no it don't. But again, I was fortunate enough. I had a very good teacher. All right, we got to bring this back around. Plug that in. That only goes in one way. You can't mess this up, this plug. It only fits one way. So if you try it the one way and it don't fit, flip it around. Now this switch is going to go back into here. So it goes like this. This fits in here like that. And this little piece of split loom fits in there. Then you want to snap this back together like this. And you're going to push this down. Now this button, that just slides in here. So if you look at this button, it's got these little legs here. And if you look at this, that's how it goes. And you want to look at the little key emblem on there, which I think this key comes out. So it really doesn't matter because you can put the key in any way. But you just want to make sure that these line up with this. See? And then you just snap it in. Just snaps in. Then you take it back on the handle and we'll bolt it back on. Here's a little square nut. It goes in there. And then I'll get some zip ties and we'll zip tie that back down. 7/16. All right, there's our dinner. Let me get these tools cleared off of here. And this little cover, which is broken, but I don't think he's too concerned about that. You know, that just covers the battery. Now, it looked like I was having a little trouble getting this battery back in. Oh, you know what? Uh-oh. Taryl messed up. Yeah, I didn't get this in right. All right, I got to take this back off. No big deal. Okay, so just make sure when you slide this part onto here that you get it on here. That's the mistake. I went a little too fast. And I had this messed up just a little bit. Yeah, see? It wasn't in there correctly. So be aware of that. All right. So now I'll put the Phillips heads in there to hold it together. pull it down tight. There we go. Put the other one in. And before I bolt this down, now remember, these are plastic screws, so you can strip them out. So try not to use an impact or anything. Do it by hand. Now let me plug the battery in and see how it... Oh yeah, see? I didn't have it locked in all the way. See, sometimes it's good to leave those mistakes in. Because I was trying to jam that battery in there and it wasn't correct. Now it is. Alright, now I can put this on. So do that step. When you get to that part where you're going to put this back on, before you put this on, make sure the battery fits in there. Now, another thing I forgot to point out. There's little notches in here for this cable. So make sure you get the cable in those notches. See? The cable's got to move free through that notches there and there. And then this little push nut thingy, whatever they call this, clamp holder, that slips into there to hold that in place. All right. So just be aware of that stuff. Now I could stick this all back in, and again, I'll have to get a couple of zip ties and zip tie that handle. Now, oh, ½ inch, back to my 3/8. Now, $135 for this wiring harness that they give me. They've given me everything else. Where's the box? What'd I do with the box? So I'm looking on the ground, I'm looking around. What's the two items that are missing, Grass Rats, for $135? Yeah, you're yelling at the screen right now and you're all correct. The zip ties! Where are the two zip ties I had to cut off? Are you watching MTD? Huh? You watching my videos? Anybody over there that's of any importance? Where's the zip ties? Well, they're supposed to be in there. I don't know what happened. Oh, I'm going to have to send this up the chain of command. I should have put the zip ties in there. And I'll tell you why I know this is MTD. Because it says right there, MTD. Harness, mower electric. Another thing I noticed when I looked this part up online, it didn't have the P in there. So 725P09785. When I looked it up, it had 725-09785. Gotta have the P. And I've been drinking beer. I think I gotta go pee. No, I haven't been. Alright, so now that goes on like that. Make sure there's nothing underneath here. Pull back the bail again. Hit the button. Now my 79-year-old customer can just hit the button, pull down on the bail, hit the button, hit his self-propel, and he's not overly exerting himself, pulling on the rope, trying to start this thing. And since we use his mower in a video, I'm going to cut him a break because he's a longtime customer. He's become a friend, so I'm going to give him a break on this. And there's your dinner. There's your dinner. So, you like this video? You learn a lot? You learning stuff? We're all learning all the time every week you tune in. So if you're learning, follow me. Don't chase me. Follow me. Don't smack me in the back of the head. Follow me. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check out our web store. We got all kinds of stuff there. Like this, get it, boy, get it. We haven't been hearing them getting it today. They must be relaxing. It's too hot out. It's really hot out right now. It's too hot to get it. But get it, boy, get it. Get this shirt, hats. We got all kinds of stuff. Other than merchandise, we've got gel lube, we've got silicones, we've got all, you got to check it out, frame kits. Just check out the store. There's something there for you. And like I always say at the end of every video, fire it up. Fire. No, I don't say that. I say, there's your dinner. Oh yeah, don't forget. Get your Crapsman sticker if you own one of these pieces of crap. Working again. All right. I'm going to call the customer. Get out. Get out of here. Oh, I got to put the zip ties on. There's your dinner.